Welcome back, everybody. Happy Friday. Shall we start with our new box of goodies that we got this week? Friend Dave Harrington was kind enough to roll me up the inside flange for the fan shroud on the radiator. So as soon as I get the radiator out here, we can fit that to it. Big thank you to Dave for that. Very, very kind of you to take some time out of your busy schedule to help me out. I appreciate it very much. We got back the clutch parts from Midwest Cylinder Head. They welded up the surfaces on the clutch throwout here. So I'll have to file them a little bit to true them back up. And they welded up the ears on that were worn on these. So same story. I'll have to file and get them back to the right size and roundness. But there again, very, very happy with how that turned out. That should take up all the tolerances very nicely once that's all back together. I talked with Norm yesterday, I think it was. And he has the cast parts back from the foundry, the front pulley, and the clutch disc. And he's got the clutch disc machined as far as he can. So he was kind of waiting on me. So I got my button gear here today. And I took a machine washer and cut out a template for the splines. So I'll mail this to him so he can make the splines and the parts accordingly to make it fit on my hand fit shaft. Because remember, I had to take down where it was worn. I hand filed them back to uniform and square. So I made this template, and I'm pretty happy with how that's fitting. It basically it's a almost zero tolerance template. Just little. Basically as close as you can get it by hand making it. And it works in all four orientations. So I'm pretty impressed with myself. Things must have came out pretty uniform. It fits a little bit better in a couple orientations than the other. But like I said, you almost got to expect that considering this was hand machined, so to speak. So that's good. I'll get that mailed off to Norm here in the morning so we can work on that. So that's pretty good news. I got my new phone, so I'm taking this week's video with it. You'll have to let me know what you think. Do you notice any difference? Is it actually a better quality? I'm hoping so. I'll have to play around. I haven't even played around with the settings or anything, so hopefully I got it set somewhat right. This morning I got the tap, number 436 for the one thread in the magneto that I gotta clean up a little bit. I tried to find a O-ring to go in this groove. That seal, the orange seal that Matt had sent, was a little bit too big, so I'm just going to find an O-ring that fits in there. I couldn't find any locally, so I think I found one on McMaster. I'll order that up with the next time I order stuff for that. So we should be able to work on that this weekend and get that wrapped up. I went up to Napa and also got the front seal ordered this morning, so that'll be in tomorrow morning. I'll go pick that up. I think I got everything figured out as far as once I have that seal in hand, I will bring this front cover and a blueprint of what this is. We're going to make a new one of these instead of trying to modify this one. It's going to work out better. So I'll make up a little blueprint for them so you can make up that and machine counterbore the back of this. And then we should have everything to finish that part of the project. So that's good news. I was video chatting with Dad earlier and we confirmed some sizes for this front crankshaft handle shaft. Because these bores are a little bit worn or whatever, so we're going to compensate and make that shaft a little bit oversized, so that ends up being a nice fit. So we got that project in the works. You know, he was showing me how he was working on the exhaust pipe flange for where the exhaust pipe meets into the exhaust manifold, and he's getting close to being done with that project. So that's good news. I picked up a couple new little toys here today, a couple new die grinders. They were on sale at Menards, or not Menards, Napa rather, excuse me. So once I get out I picked up the wrong air chucks, of course, so I'll have to trade them in and get the right ones today to match these ones. Some air tool oil. I got some more gasket material so we can make up gaskets for the engine here at some point. What else? I think it's about it for now. I will check back with you guys later. But yeah, we're getting a lot of loose ends figured out here, at least. Things ordered, and we're getting close to having all our clutch stuff on hand so we can finally put this clutch together and make sure all these parts and pieces that we've been collecting over the last number of weeks, hopefully it'll all work together and we'll have a good functioning clutch when it's all said and done. But yeah, I'll see you guys a little bit later here. Okay, so today I had the engine back together in the tractor. I confirmed that the bottom panholes fit into the actual tractor casting there. I took the engine back out again then, took the pan off so I could confirm some more seal stuff. I picked up the seal this morning at Napa. So this is the number here, 17271. It's designed for an 1.75" shaft. It's like 313 or 315 thick. That's not really critical in this case, and I'm not even sure off the top of my head what the outside is, but there again, that's not really critical. All that I wanted to do was make sure that it was a kind of a standard ID, so if I ever have to change this, it won't be some oddball seal that will become obsolete or something. 1.75" is a pretty common number, so it shouldn't be hard to find in the future if need be. Hopefully I'll never have to take this back apart and do any of that again, but you just never know. So I got a little blueprint drawn up for the machinist. I'll bring this in next week sometime and have him start working on that. We're going to make a new front seal surface instead of trying to modify this one. So I got a blueprint of that drawn up for him with all the important information. And like I said, I confirmed everything. There should be plenty of clearance. So basically the seal will ride in here. Of course, this isn't to scale. The seal will ride in the back of this cover. We're going to counter bore from the back side of the front casting in about 100 thou. So this will sit about 1/3 of the way of the seal in there. Hopefully that'll be enough to have it locked in there solidly. And then this will also, with all those measurements, there'll be enough clearance from the back of the seal to the front of this lip here. Like I said, it's not to scale. In reality, it'll be just a little bit of play there. So, but I confirmed that all that looks like it should work. Again, once it's all done and together, I'll check it again before I put it all together for the final time, and then I'll let you guys know that it all worked, because I know there's a couple other guys out there with Allis's that want to do the same modification. So like I said, if it all ends up working, I'll let you know for sure that that's the number that'll work and everything, and I'll what I did and to make it all work. So I think I'm good with all that stuff now. I can put all that away and then maybe start looking at do the riveting in the pan now, the baffles. It'll probably be, I think, the next thing I'll probably tackle here. Figure out a good setup to do that. Well, here we are, set up on the floor. Putting the baffle back in the oil pan. I cleaned out everything one final time, make sure everything was perfectly clean. Put the baffle back in with the temporary little bolts. And then I've been just doing one rivet at a time, you know, taking the bolt out, putting the rivet in. I got these little, like I already showed you in the past video, these little rivets. 3/16 by 3/8 round head rivet, steel. So what I did was put just a little bit of black Permatex along the you know, like behind the head of the rivet. Come on, focus. Behind the head of the rivet when I put them in there, so that way, you know, hopefully it won't weep any oil around the heads of the rivets. Just a little added security, I guess. Try to prevent oil leaks. And put it in the hole, and then I got some blocks of steel behind the head of the rivet. So the pan itself is not touching anything. It's only supported by the head of the rivet. So all your tapping gets directly, the force goes directly into the head of the rivet, and you're not putting any undue stress on the fragile cast iron pan, because I really don't want to wreck that. But yeah, it's all been going good. I got them all in except for one, because the casting is a little bit thicker in that spot, and I actually got to get a little bit longer rivet, because the head of the end of the rivet comes out like flush with the inside in that particular spot. So I'll have to get some little bit longer rivet for there. But I got the other 5 in and peened over, and they look really good. They're in there good and solid, because once I was done riveting them and I was confident that they're good, I'd take and tap them a little bit to feel, because you can kind of tell when you're cinched up good and solid and when you still need to peen a little bit more. You can kind of feel, so to speak, when they're set good. And even just the sound of the rivet, you know, it gives a little bit more solid thunk when it's tight. So yeah, we're good there. Like I said, I'll have to get one more so we can finish that, but then that part of the project will be done. So that's one more check off the list. Oh, I'll get up off the floor here. I was going to use the anvil, but it was easier just to work directly right on the floor. It was easier to support the pan. So yeah. I'll probably call it a day here now. It's about supper time, so probably see you guys in the morning. Come on, Alice, get your game together here. So I took these rivets off the toolbox door hinges so I could make sure that I had the right hinges on hand, or rivets on hand rather, to put it back together. I'm putting together some things to order from McMastercard or whatever, so if I want to add it to my order, that'll be a good time to do it. Anyway, it's okay, I'll ground them off. I was assuming that they were going to be the 1/4 inch rivets like the toolbox door knob had, right? You know, if you're 1/4 inch here, it would just make sense to be 1/4 inch here, right? And 1/4 inch for the actual hinge pin. Well, no, those are 1/4 inch, those are 1/4 inch, these are 9/32. Figure that one out. These rivets, excuse me, these holes here is a 9/32, so I could put a 9/32 actual hinge pivot pin in there, which I might do to take up, because these are super sloppy, and to take up some of that play. And the rivets here are 9/32, so I'll have to order up some of them if I can find that size. But it's just like kind of silly. Like, why? Why wouldn't you just make them all 1/4 and be done with it? I don't know. They must have had some logic to it. Kind of interesting. On the back side, where it was together here, a casting number that hasn't been seen in 100 years. AM 1091, I believe it says. Come on, focus. So that's kind of neat. Those things that have been hidden for, like I said, literally 100 years. So, well, maybe I'll work on this toolbox here a little bit today, since I got sidetracked. It's going to have to get done sooner or later anyway. So, got my blank cut out, got it clamped onto my form. So I guess all I got to do now is start beating on it and see what happens. Would you look at me? It almost looks like I know what I'm doing here. This is turning out really good so far. It's looking just like the original. Of course, this is a little bit deeper than what it needs to be. I'll trim that off when it's all formed. And of course, I'll have to weld up the corner because I had to slice it to get it to make it that shape. But yeah, I'm really happy so far. I'll keep tapping away here. 2 corners are done. Again, I'm just kind of impressed with myself here. This is turning out a lot better than I thought it would. So what I've been doing is bashing them roughly to shape, overlapping them, coming with the Sawzall, cutting through both layers, and then forming them some more. And as they come together, if I need to cut them again, form them some more until they're tight and you have your appropriate corner. Like so, and then continue forming. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I had to make one more slit and a little more hammering, and came together pretty good. Now the moment of truth. Take it off the form, unclamp it, and go actually fit it, see if it fits on the tractor. See if this was all for nothing. Hopefully I got my calculations correct. Look at that. Of course it's too deep yet, so it doesn't sit on there all the way. Till I trim it to final size thickness wise, but yeah, it fits. I'm really impressed with all this. One thing, hindsight, I wish I would have done before I painted this main casting was to take some of these big imperfections in the casting, bumps and stuff. I wish I would have ground some of them off. I might still have to do that a little bit and touch up the paint just so these doors fit better. But yeah, I'm liking it. And like I said, it's a little bit thicker material than the original, so it should be a lot more sturdy, let's say. This one is pretty flimsy, which is probably why it ended up cracking so much. If they would have used a little heavier gauge, it maybe would have lasted a little bit longer. But from the outside, when it's closed, you'll never even notice that it's thicker. So yeah, I guess figure out my final thickness now, get that marked out, and figure out how I'm going to trim that down. Nice. Yeah, and as an added bonus, I even got the last rivet in. Lawrence had a little stash of rivets, and you happen to have the right size I needed. So all 6 rivets are in. That project is done. Nice. Check it off the list. So trimming her down here now. Metal cutting blade and the jigsaw is working pretty good. Got it clamped in the vise. Finish this off and a little bit of filing. I'll show you what I got. We got our toolbox all cut down, rough filed the edges. They're not sharp. Give it a little bit of a sand to knock down any little burrs. So we'll just have to weld up the corners and fit our hinges and knob, of course, and check it on the tractor once we do all that. Make sure everything works, and I think we'll have ourselves a pretty nice toolbox door. I'm impressed with how it worked. I'm happy with all these corners, how they came out. Wasn't sure how that was going to work. First time I've really tried this type of a hammer form thing. I'm happy with it. I'll try it again in the future if we have a similar project. Because the same concept could be applied to the clutch access door on the other side too, if you wanted to fabricate one of them. It's a good way to get these compound rounded corners. So I think it's about it for this week. I thank you all for watching, and I think the new subscribers here lately, the past few weeks, their numbers are climbing. Last I checked, we're over 150 subscribers, so that's awesome. I know in the grand scheme of things of YouTube, that's not very much, but hey, that's pretty impressive for me, that there's 150 people plus out there that are regularly watching my channel. So thank you all for checking in every week. Appreciate it. Leave a comment below if you're a noob subscriber. I'd like to it's interesting to hear where you people, how you found me and what kind of things you work on. Kind of lets me know what my subscriber base is into and stuff. You know, do you have a lot of background in this kind of restoration, or are you watching it just because you enjoy it? You really don't know anything about tractors. It's all good to me. I like. It's nice to have a selection of people because you can appreciate more the background of different things. Like me personally, I like to watch like a lot of fix-it stuff on YouTube, but I also watch, you name it, things that I have, zero interest in actually doing myself, but sometimes it's neat to kind of see what other people do for hobbies. So yeah, leave a comment below. I will see you all next week. Thanks for watching. Have a good week.